Hey, YouTube family. It's Dr. Diane Thompson. Welcome again to the second in the series where I am on a 60-day journey to a health, wellness, and lifestyle transformation. So, this is a channel that looks at the use of lifestyle medicine to achieve health, wellness, and longevity. And I am in the process of showing my work. As mentioned, I am rereading this book, and a part of it is you show your work, you show what you're doing. And so I am in the process of doing this transformation because I've sought to let things get out of hand. And so for you, if you've found yourself where you've gotten to a place where you're really stressed, where you've kind of ignored your health for a minute, it's good to try to rope it back in. And that's what I'm doing for myself. I'm doing it out there in the open for you to see the process, see the lessons, and maybe you can learn something, right? So tonight I'm going to update you. I'm going to share 3 quick lessons and let you know my plans for next week. And hopefully you'll join on this in this process, right? Or you learn something from it. Again, if this is something you're interested in, please share this video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with someone else. All right, so 5 days ago, I started the process. I did it at the first of the month because it was just easy for me to calculate each day. So we're now the 5th of the month and it's day 5. I had started out with an accountability buddy, my hubby, and we were going to do the 5-day prolonged fast. I've done the prolonged fast before, and I'm going to do a review of that in a future episode. It is a fast mimicking diet where basically you get 5 days of foods in a box, right? And that's what you eat. And one reason I like Prolon is that there's a lot of research that has gone into it. The idea is really not about weight loss. It is really more so about a rejuvenation. It is tricking your body. You're fasting, but you're not really doing a water fast. And so it's a safer way of doing it. And I was really looking at a reboot and a rejuvenation. I will tell you that 2.5 days into the fast, we aborted. Hubby started complaining. And this is something to think about, right? I wanted to start it on the first of the month. However, what that meant was some of that fast was going to end up being on the weekend. And typically on the weekend, we sometimes will eat out, we'll do social things that's not conducive to a prolonged fast. So I decided that, okay, well, let's go ahead and abort. So 2.5 days in, we aborted. But I will say the first lesson is that you fall down 7 times, you get up 8, right? So we aborted, but it wasn't a failure because we did set ourselves up for success. We weren't going to just, fall apart. At least I wasn't. I'm very serious about this transformation. And so what happened was I recognized, and this is lesson number 2, and that is if you set yourself up for success, you have a greater chance of succeeding. So even though we put away that prolonged fast, because I had already set up my cupboard and the pantry with healthy foods, I have no cake, cookies, bread, things like that at home. I typically don't anyway. Often the struggle occurs when I'm at work, but we had healthy foods here. So it meant that although I came off the Prolon, the options in the home were healthy things. So that's great. So that's a lesson for you when you're going on a transformation and you're trying to really incorporate health and wellness. Just try to have your environment where you have more healthy stuff around. The next thing was I wanted to incorporate early on in the process water intake. I decided with this transformation, I've done this enough with myself and also with patients that what I know is that if you try to do 50 different things at once, it does not work. You fail at it often. So, but there were some key things I wanted to do. And another key thing was the hydration piece. Now, here's my water bottle. This is a 2-liter water bottle. And what I did, and I've been doing for the last 5 days, is I fill it up in the morning when I make my coffee. I fill it up. There's filtered water from the refrigerator. I fill it up. And the goal is to finish it each day. And this was important because with water, if I feel hydrated, I don't mistake thirst for hunger. If I'm not well hydrated, I tend to have a headache. It goes downhill. So I wanted to make sure that I was well hydrated with water. And so I set myself up for success by having the water bottle filled with water, sitting in a prominent place where I knew that the goal was to finish this by the end of the day. And I've been successfully doing that. The test will come this week when I return to work, right? But I'm confident in myself that I will do it. The third thing is I wanted to also incorporate good sleep early in the process. For me, sleep has always been a challenge. One of the reasons I invested in an Oura Ring. I also know the importance of getting good sleep. When I don't sleep well enough, I lose focus. I wake up, I don't feel well. I'm not concentrating well. I tend not to eat properly when I don't sleep well. I grab for bad foods. When I'm up late, I tend to eat things late in the night. It just really disrupts everything. So early in the process, the 3 things I wanted to address was having healthy foods around and hydrating well and focusing on sleep. Those were the 3 things I wanted to do early on. I'd say the last 5 days, I've done much better than expected. The sleep, for example, the Oura Ring will help me to see my sleep score. My personal goal was to have a sleep score of 90 or better. I will tell you, day number 1, it was 63, which is typically what it is. 50s and 60s. I told you before, it's been a challenge. But day number 2 was 89. Day 3, 93. Day 4, on Saturday, it was 75. We were up late watching a movie. And so the sleep score looks at the time you go to bed, how many hours. It's several things that go into that. So yes, I was up watching a movie very late. And then last night it was 91. So pretty happy with the direction, because as I said, most times my sleep score tend to be on the lower side. So this is actually good. This is what it says to me. If you're not paying attention to things, if you're not measuring it and keeping it front and center and being intentional, sometimes you tend to miss it, right? So back to work this week. By the way, for sleep, some of the things that help, 1, I was measuring it, really paying attention to it, being intentional. I started winding down. As the time got to a certain hour, I started winding down. I set the time in my Oura Ring when it's bedtime, and it would kind of remind me that, hey, your bedtime is coming up. It's time to wind down. It happens also with your watch, if you have an Apple Watch or other types of watches that monitors health and wellness. You will often have that opportunity where you're reminded of that. I also did some journaling. My mind gets very busy at nights, especially when I'm working. I'm doing notes very late in the night. There's a lot of things going on. It takes a while for my brain to quiet down. I find that if I journal, put things down on paper, it kind of takes it out of my brain, and that's helpful. Meditation helps. So if you look at YouTube, there are different meditation, guided meditation channels. Again, my Oura Ring, my Apple Watch. I have a Mindvalley membership. As you can see, I'm all into the wellness stuff. All of those offer some form of a meditation, and you can have shorter ones. So before bed, I'll put my my headphones in and I will, listen into one of those meditation. The other thing is my blue light blockers. People will often say, get off the phones, the computers at a certain time. I don't always have that luxury because I am a working physician and I do get calls late. I may have to pull up a patient's chart and look at something. And so, I don't always have that option of not looking at my devices, but I have my blue light blocking glasses. I purchased these from Do Not Age. I really like that company. It's a supplement company, a wellness company. And so I purchased those and, I'll pop them on at a certain time. The other thing is, I do sometimes take supplement if I feel like I need it. I'd say talk to your doctor about that, right? It's not something for everyone, but I do take very low dose of melatonin, not the doses that you see in the pharmacy on the shelves, right? I'll see people on 10 and 5 and 3 milligrams. I typically will take 1 or less, sometimes a half a milligram. And some of the sleep studies actually showed that you do better with the lower dose. I will say we don't have very, very, very long-term studies on the impact. So tread carefully with that, right? And I also will take magnesium supplement, as that also helps with sleep. Okay, so what's my plan for this week? So this week is this is where I'm really going to test myself this week because I have a little bit of note here. I don't want to forget. So this week I go back to work. I've been off work for a week. I go back to work this week. At work, I tend to be running around. It's very stressful. It's very busy. I have long, long days. I tend to come home and I'm doing notes late in the night. So one thing I did was I decided, remember, this is my health, wellness, lifestyle transformation. And I had to do some soul searching and I decided to hire staff to help me. And so I have a staff, I have a nurse practitioner who's going to be helping me this week. Hired 2 people. There'll be a second person who will join the team in a couple of weeks. I've also looked at some productivity tools to help me. Yeah, so with having the staff, that's going to be a game changer. It will cost me some money, but that's okay. You have to know what's important to you. My quality of life is important to me. Being able to get to bed at a certain time is important to me. So it's okay if I hire someone and we can, that person can help me with the work and I will part with some cash. I'm okay with that. So that's number 1. I'm very excited about that. Number 2, I've changed up how I'm going to eat. In the past, I practiced intermittent fasting. My first meal was around noon or so. And then my second meal was late in the evening. And so I found that affected my sleep also, because when I get in bed, it will feel like I'm still full and I don't want to sleep. And so what the plan is I'll be switching the time up. So I'm having my first meal earlier in the day for breakfast, and I'm going to be having either some oatmeal with some protein powder. I usually add some blueberries. I add bilberry powder for my eye health, and I'll talk with you about that. I've had some issues with my eyes, and I found out just an incidental finding that there were some issues with my eyes. So I am very protective of my eyes right now. So I'll do that. I'll add even a little moringa in my oatmeal. So oatmeal or a smoothie. And same thing, the smoothie is a green smoothie with, berries and that sort of thing. And I want to give myself that option. Sometimes I want something warm. So it's one or the other. And then lunchtime. So if it were a different situation, I would have pre-packed my food in the refrigerator. That's what I would encourage people to do. If you can reach for the thing, it's better for you than to be thinking about it. I found the same thing with my clothing, by the way, for work. right? I set up my clothing each day. And if I just reach in and grab it, it's less decision fatigue. And I just get going. It takes one thing out of the equation and less stress for me. So, same thing with food. Typically, I would say in another space and time, I would have prepackaged meal sitting in my refrigerator and I just grab it and take it with me. However, in this particular job, in the physician's lounge, we tend to have lunch, and they have like a hot meal, uh, and then there's a small salad bar and some soup. And so I typically do very well getting some salad with some protein and some soup. And often they'll have like some bean soup. It's usually some healthy variety of soup. So for this week, my goal is going to be to focus on getting the soup and salad. And if for some reason I get tired of it, often the hot meal will have the option of plenty of vegetables with a protein. So I have some good options there. There's usually seltzer water there. So that will allow me to avoid any of the sugary beverages, right? So those are the two meals I'll be having at work. And then when I get home in the evening, if I am still hungry, it will be a smoothie and or a fruit. And that's the goal for this week. I'm going to keep it simple. I don't want too many options. And I'm going to see how that goes. So this week, the focus again is the water. That really has made a change for me. I can tell you when I didn't drink a lot of water, I would have headaches. And this week has just been wonderful. My sleep, if you're trying to make a transformation or health changes, I would say to you, loop that sleep in early. Often it's an afterthought, but we actually figured out that sleep is really more important now than people realize. So I'll loop that in early. And then how I'm eating and what I'm eating is going to be important. And I think a big change I'm making is the time of day I'm eating, because I don't want it to affect my sleep and I don't want to be eating late at nights. So I'll be changing what I eat, and I have in mind I'm either having this or this for breakfast, this or this for lunch, and I know what I will have for dinner. So that's going to be the plan this week. And then come next week, I will layer on some movement and we'll talk about exercise. I think for women of a certain age, strength training becomes important. So that's something I'm going to be talking about in the future. So join me in doing this transformation. Each week, I will share with you what I've learned. I'll share my wins and losses in the hope that you can learn something for yourself. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do another set of photos and measurement, and I'll get on the scale. I'll tell you in the last 5 days, I've not lost any weight. I didn't expect to, but I've had non-scale victories. And so I feel better. I feel more focused. There's no headache. I feel rested. I feel hydrated. So it's been wonderful. So join me, come back here next week, and I hope you get on that journey as well. And please remember to like the video if you like it, and share it with someone who you think might benefit from going through this journey. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.